For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it will speak, and it will not lie. Though it tarries, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3. As I sit down again to write for this week, I see a shift again, and this time I listened and felt like he was definitely telling me something new. Had originally planned to continue with the Grateful series, and I thought I already had a subject in mind, and in fact had already started writing something on that line. But closer to the weekend, he changes my subject. More than anything, I am feeling awkward and thinking about the listeners and how they would react seeing this pattern again and again, or how my story always starts like this. However, diving deeper into myself and reflecting, I realize that whenever there is a continuous pattern, whether it be in my dreams or incidences or otherwise, God is always trying to catch your attention on something. And today, on the 7th week, which I feel is not a coincidence, I realize that on the major part, I have been trying to write or work on this platform on my own, while thinking I'm doing it with Him. At least at the start, because as I seriously sit and seek His will, then He starts something new, and then I write. However, to my dismay, I realize that I have been, as we also are at times, or maybe most of the times, trying to complete His given task on our own strength. And today, I am just laughing at myself on how foolish I have been not to listen properly. And in the process, I have had to start from the beginning again and again. I have learned my lesson today, and hopefully from next week I will not be starting my story with these now famous lines. Actually, I had written something else, but the Holy Spirit changed it. In reality, it was I, and not him, who hadn't listened properly in the first place. So now, without any delay, let us dive into this week's story that God is pressing in my heart to share. This week, I wanted to share a little bit about my story on waiting. Although I am still in the process of waiting and haven't finished my race, but what I have realized in our pilgrim journey is that we will forever be in the season of waiting. Either we are waiting for big breakthroughs or for the small, you are in waiting. Although it sounds awfully depressing when we hear it like that, I assure you it isn't. But what I have realized is that no matter what step I take, I eventually come back to Him. And it is only Him who gives you peace and comfort. As have so many of us, I have also had my fair share of waitings. If at one time I was waiting for the results of my school examination, or waiting for a call back to the first job, then waiting on the Lord God to answer your desperate needs. In the waiting, I have gone from fervently praying to fasting, to anxiousness, to anger outbursts, and then to silent treatment. I have done it all. Over the years, I have seen the more mature I become, the longer the wait period. I don't know if others also experience the same, but as I write today, I realize these facts. I also realize that you are no longer the same person who was at one time very anxious, stressed, bitter, or angry. But now you are the opposite of that. You are at peace like calm in the chaos. Or even if at times the reality of waiting might take a toll at you, but this time you focus your eyes on Him, rather on the problem. You are more patient than before, and you choose to see His plan in the situation. Trust His good plans will come to pass. because He is not a man who lies. I am surprised to see myself like this because just a few months before I wasn't like this. There was this tiny nudge of anxiousness still there that would surface now and then. Truthfully, it might have geared its head a few weeks back also. But as I reflect, I have been able to use His word to counter that as He has taught me, and then it vanishes away. If today I might be in a lesser waiting of my promises to come to pass, in the past it was a different story. When all the sign you receive is just this one tiny clue to move forward, just a small opening in the door, what do? You move ahead. Even when you can not see anything in front, you move ahead. You move like Peter did on that water. You move ahead, putting your focus on Jesus. Now, as I look back, the only good thing I did, I feel, was to move ahead. And as I moved, doors started to open. Maybe if it took years for one door to open, it took months or weeks for the other door to open. But it did open. As long as you don't lose focus on God, or maybe even if you did, like I did so many times, I fell, I got hurt, but I still rose, took His hand and moved ahead. My one important prayer all these years was, Lord, even if I, in my weakest moment, tell you to go away from me, please don't. Don't ever leave me. Because I knew I wouldn't be able to live without Him. I didn't want to live without Him. There was no compromise. I wanted Him to stay, and He in His grace never left me. Even when I was learning to be His child, even in my ugliest, even in my darkest of moments, He didn't leave me. Like a prodigal son, He always took me in His arms and welcomed me home as if nothing had happened. For this and so much more, I am grateful. If I was like the Israelites in the wilderness at times, grumbling, getting angry, throwing a tantrum, He never left me, always loved me, and made me understand when I had cooled down. I have seen His grace, His love, His mercy, His wisdom, His strength, His patience in my waiting season. I have loved Him, despised His ways, questioned Him, sulked like a child, not talked to Him for a day or two, and then I would be back, or rather He would bring me back, and I would be talking to Him as if nothing happened, and once again in love with Him. I have gone through these different phases to now where I cannot even think of a single second alone without Him. As I write and reflect, I realize all these waitings I had to do in my different seasons was a learning phase for me. It was like He was sharpening me and all my senses. He was growing many things in me like faith, patience, resilience, love, strength, and so much more. As I made this pasta that I've shown in my visual, it is so delicious and healthier than others. But in order to make it, it certainly deserves a lot of patience and love. Then after waiting for some time, you can finally enjoy the fruit of your labor. Likewise, the longer the wait for some of your breakthroughs, you will be more appreciative of them and also realize that your breakthrough came exactly at the right time, not before nor after, in just the right time. This is a personal, beautiful character of God. He knows when you need it. A truth I was not aware of nor appreciative of it before. But now I relish this truth of His, and I have learned to wait in His time, because He makes all things beautiful in His time. Now I wouldn't want it any other way. I want His ways, His time, because I have known that His timing, His plans are always for good and always for my betterment. I also realized that this lesson or story has been shared a few times over the past few weeks, and with my lesson on His repetition this week, I feel assured that God in His goodness wants to once again tell us to wait on Him, to not give up waiting for Him. Like the verse He gave me from Habakkuk, though literally it would have a different meaning, as it was meant for the Israelites in Habakkuk's time and would signify the impending judgment spoken against them. But when this verse spoke to me many years before, God was speaking to me about the promises He had spoken over me and how to trust in Him, how God was telling me at that time when I had nothing to trust in Him, and I did. And now, many years from then, many of the promises spoken over me has come to pass, and I am living in them, and just a few are yet to come to pass. So today I encourage you to wait on Him, because He is a faithful God. And most importantly, the lesson I have learned is that we need to be active in our waiting. What does active mean? Being active means to seek Him while you are waiting on Him, to go deeper in His Word, go into that secret place with Him, and then when the time comes, move ahead in His time and season. He will definitely give you a direction through His Word, His signs, people, circumstances. You just have to see and listen and then move. Also, this will only be through the act of obedience and sacrifice, a story for another time. So before I end this week's journey, I want to leave you with a story of hope. Our God is also a creative God, and He is beyond time and space, and is outside every box that man makes. I say this because what I am about to share is something some people might not understand or have a hard time grasping, but I will share nevertheless, as this is also one of the ways He speaks to me. As most of you have seen till date, I love nature, and I'm fascinated with our creative God and His creation. And they speak to me in a way that makes me worship my Creator more and more. I would be rightly saying that I am enjoying this phase of my life, where I get to be in close quarters with nature and enjoy His creation in the form of flora and fauna. If the birds singing in the morning or all day through gives me joy, smelling a rose gives me equal joy, if not more. So His creation has always spoken to me and always leads me to Him. And one creature in particular has been in all these significant moments of my life: the beautiful butterfly. If one butterfly at one time had been a beacon of hope in a time where I had come home and stayed overtime, and was decisive on whether I should stay or go back. It had spoken to me, followed by His words always confirming I was to go back then, and I did, marking one of the most significant moments of my conversion. Some of which I have captured in camera, some were just for my eyes, carrying it messages from the Father. Then the second time it had spoken to me was in an open vision I had seen when I was back home the second time, where He Himself had led me back. This time I had just followed his word and come back. I had come with a business at that time and was again starting anew. That vision of a beautiful blue butterfly led Jane to so many crucial events in my life, of which I am still living in. And this week I have been visited by so many unique butterflies that I have never ever witnessed in my 3.5 years of living in this farm full time. It's been a beautiful week of waiting on the Lord, and I was reminded of my friend's vision. She had seen many beautiful butterflies floating about in a garden, and this week, when I am myself witnessing such a sight, all I can do is smile and thank God that He still speaks to me through the butterflies. Once again giving me hope to continue to wait on Him, and if I tarry, the vision will come true, because He is a God who doesn't lie.